Hello, John. This is your mother. Now listen to this.
Once upon a time in the land of handsome princes, noble kings, and beautiful princesses, there also lived a wicked witch, a wily wolf, and a ginormous giant. Deep in the forest was the vilest of all, a wicked witch who casts another evil spell. Once upon a time, a shoemaker and his wife lived in an old market town, and people came from far and wide to be fitted for exquisite leather shoes and boots. One day, a giant called to be fitted for some new walking boots. He had decided to visit his northern cousin, Accrington Stanley, and needed a stout pair of boots for the journey. Bye, I want some boots for Accrington. When the boots were finished, so was the shoemaker. Oh, I'm clean out of leather, he said, only having a few scraps left. As the giant was in no hurry to pay the bill, the poor couple didn't even have enough food for breakfast. Now, we'll just have to chew on the scraps of the leather in the morning with a drop of water to wash it down, you idiots. In the morning, the couple were amazed to see that the scraps of leather had been made into an exquisite pair of shoes. But these are perfect. Someone's even polished them. Before long, there was a ring on the shop bell, and a fine young lady of the town entered. When she saw the little shoes, she was absolutely delighted and offered the shoemaker 5 pieces of silver for them. Now we can eat, and I can buy some leather for 2 pairs of shoes. A stunning piece of business strategy that so far had only occurred to 54 million of his fellow countrymen. And so, that evening, after a hearty meal of baked plimsoll, the couple went to bed with high hopes for the morning. And indeed, they were not to be disappointed, because there were 2 pairs of exquisite shoes which were soon sold, with the result the shoemaker and his wife were able to increase their stock and intake of food, eggs and chips and filth. As time went on and their reputation spread, it occurred to the shoemaker that they might be worth investigating who it was who were making these wonderful pairs of shoes. They decided to hide in the shop and keep watch, and to their astonishment, 2 little elves let themselves in and proceeded to make the huge quantities of shoes that the shoemaker now required. Perhaps we should reward them with some tea and biscuits. Idiot! They wouldn't appreciate it, said his cruel wife. Come, husband, to bed, and let them work. The next morning, a witch and her two ugly daughters were the unexpected and unwelcome visitors to the shop. My two daughters are going to a ball, and they need some dancing shoes. You'll have to go on a list like everyone else. The ball is tomorrow. So? So if you want to stay in business, you'll have those shoes ready or else. Yeah! Take no notice of her, said his wife. Put her on the bottom of the list like everybody else, idiot. The idiot shoemaker always did as his bossy wife said, but thought he'd better leave some tea and biscuits for the elves to keep them happy. As it happened, the two elves were very fond of tea and biscuits. Especially squashed fly biscuits, and took such a long tea break that by dawn they hadn't got around to making the witch's shoes. When she called in the morning, barging away to the head of the queue, she was furious that the shoes weren't ready. Don't say I didn't warn you. It wasn't until later that evening that the witch's spell revealed itself, when two frogs let themselves into the shop, drank the tea and ate the squashed flies, but singularly failed to make a single pair of shoes. The next morning there was chaos in the shop.
Hey, you! Where are my blue suede shoes?
With so many disappointed customers, business fell away to nothing, and it was so long since the shoemaker had worked that he had forgotten to make shoes.
Oh, woe is me,
Complained the shoemaker.
if I'd paid more attention to my business, this cruel fate would never befallen us.
Exactly. Fancy letting elves make shoes anyway. I expect they had their hand in the till as it was. Idiot! And so the shoemaker and his wife went back to square one, forced to eat scraps of shoe leather for breakfast.
Oh, I know. I'll try my hand at being a tailor. Perhaps those elves would help me.
I'm sure they'd be delighted to help you, except... now they're frogs. Idiot, idiot, idiot.
There's more wolves and more witches and more giants here next.